some of these really big installations. But some of these littler ones, I gotta think that even in what I'm selling right then, when I bring tons and tons of this stuff, that I wouldn't get the same amount for the first ton as the last ton, right? Does that not make sense? Right? When you go, it would seem that even as I'm making the transaction, I mean, maybe it's all a one-shot deal, and that's the way they account for it. But let's say I bring 8 tons and I sell 4 tons. You would think that the next chunk I want to sell, I'd have to, if I didn't sell them all at the same time, if I had 8 tons and I sold 4 tons of the substance, that now in what they would offer would be just a little bit less, right? Even if it's just a credit or 2. You see what I mean? Does that make sense? So that just leads me to believe that this stuff is all less dynamic than it really is. Good Lord, how long is this going to take? Am I doing something wrong? Am I not? No, okay, no, I'm in, this is just going to take for freaking ever. Well, that was kind of nice to just see how the message shrunk to the upper right, to the info column. That was kind of cool. I guess while we're diddling with this crap, we can... Oh, wow, check it out. I need to get a permit to go to Sirius. That's interesting. Where the hell do you get a permit? I need a permit to go to Ross 128 and Luton. Wait a minute. I think I've been to some of these before. Access miles. Alright. Transactions. I got these 2. I get a feeling I'm off course, and I am. I gotta hurry up, man. At the rate I'm going, I'm not gonna get there in time and have enough time to go to the other system and deliver that other junk I gotta deliver. I wasn't figuring on this taking this long. How much time do I have left? I only have 54 minutes on the fruit and vegetables. But that's here, right? Yeah, that's here. So, I have 3. Okay, yeah, I'm fine. I should be alright. So there's that. And then there was the conversation that we were having about, and he's actually just bought Elite Dangerous, so he's kind of newly becoming anointed in the world of Elite Dangerous. And we were just chatting, and his thing was basically, okay, so you basically are your ship. And I guess that's true. I mean, in Elite Dangerous, you are your ship. You never get out of it. You do everything from your ship. And we got to talking about some of the demos we've seen online relating to Star Citizen, where the experience we just went through would be a whole hell of a lot more complicated, where, first of all, I dock. And from what I saw in the animation, I'd be in my ship, I'd come to the planet or whatever. There would be a tractor beam kind of thing. I don't land it myself. That's all handled in an automated fashion. And it has to be handled that way because that's the loading screen, right? It can't be, and while this is relatively seamless, the loading screen for Elite Dangerous is the elevator ride, right? When you go from one to the other. In Star Citizen, the loading screen is going through the atmosphere and your tractor beam bringing your ship and landing you. Now, it may be that is a in-game rendered cutscene, but it's still a loading rendered in-game cutscene, so that it can load. And one way you can tell is it doesn't take your input, right? You're not doing anything while you're waiting for that to happen. And I guess, and the in-game logic for that is that you're in your seatbelts because of turbulence. It's during landing, so you got to be secured and all that kind of wonderful stuff. So I'm sure it's really not going to let you interact with your systems, and it's not going to let you get up and walk around in your ship. And maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, there's some sort of there's going to be some convention in the game that makes invisible the idea of a loading screen when you go from space to a planet. But as we were saying, what we just went through, where I was docked at a station and I loaded up with stuff and I did repairs, I did all these wonderful things, relatively quickly and then was able to beat feet out of there and move on, right? Well, let's try to translate that into a Star Citizen experience where it may be more immersive, but how many times would you do it before it became annoying rather than immersive? And let me kind of make more clear what I'm talking about. So, as I said, few minutes, we accomplish our goals of getting repaired, checking for jobs, taking a few jobs, and getting out of there, right? I mean, how long were we there? 3 minutes? Now in the Star Citizen world, we land, I get up out of my chair, I walk to the exit of the ship, I open the door, I walk out, I walk into the starport, I walk over to the mechanics area and request repairs for the ship, I walk over to the jobs board or whatever, get a job. I mean, each one of those screens I simply click on in Elite Dangerous is probably a place I gotta go in the real environment or in the virtual environment in Star Citizen. Now that will be cool the first time I do it. It will also be cool the second time I do it. It might also be cool the third, fourth, and fifth time I do it. But there will come a time when I just want to get the damn thing done. Where I want to do it the Elite Dangerous way. Where I just want to dock, I want to go to a screen, I want to see everything I need and do it. So I'm hoping that the Star Citizen guys can either let you have that personal touch where you get out of your ship, or you can do it like a drive-thru. I can do it like the In-N-Out Burger. Like the Elite Dangerous In-N-Out Burger. I can just get in there, click what I want to click on, use. I want an Amazon is what I want. I want an Amazon.com of space in each one of the places I land. And just like here, if I want to go and actually shop for my shoes, I can go and do that. But if I don't, if I want to stay in my ship and have all that crap brought to me, I can have Amazon do it. Yeah? Does that make sense? Good Lord, we're only at 0.19 light years. This is so tiresome. It's like I need to bring a book to space. Nobody's interdicting. I got nobody on, I don't know, do we call it radar? What do we call it? What did they call it on Battlestar Galactica? I can't remember. Which totally sacrifices my geek cred, I realize. Just looking at my fuel, and I thought for a second I was almost out of fuel. But in the comments, I'd love to get your thoughts about any of this stuff. Does Star Citizen just seem too daunting? Now I adopted. I'm in. I mean, they have a huge number of my monies for me to participate. They've had the huge amount of my monies for a while. Because it's just too sexy. And it's got Chris Roberts, you know? I mean, how do you... Anybody who's as ancient as I am, who played all the Wing Commander series, and who played the Chris Roberts Auto Duel... Was that Chris Roberts? Chris Roberts did Auto Duel, right? For anyone who remembers the actual tabletop version of Auto Duel, was that Chris Roberts who did that? Tabletop... Auto Duel. Make deal with images. I actually still own it. I have the box. But was that Chris Roberts? I had Auto Duel, the desktop thing with the little cardboard pieces and the maps you could lay out. I don't think that was Chris Roberts. No, that was by Lord British and somebody. Lord British and somebody. Anyway, I don't know. But I could have sworn Chris Roberts was involved with that. Be that as it may not. As far as space sims go, Chris Roberts, as long as we all forget about the movie, which really sucked horribly. I mean, he's the man. I mean, he's the guy who's got an awesome vision. Now, if you love the space sim thing, you got to remember that this is a guy who has a great deal of love for World War I, World War II, historical aviation. he's a guy who loves that stuff. So you're going to get a lot of that feel out of it. It's going to have a lot of aviation love blended into it. So a lot of the things that would go along with that sort of vibe are going to be in there. But I don't have a problem with that. I'm A-okay with that. Did he not? I guess he didn't do auto do. Oh well, so much for that. So God, did this thing not even just give me enough time to even do this mission at all? Yeah, I guess it did. I'm still mind blown. Is there no way for me to go any faster? This just sucks. I've got everything up to full. This is just tiresome. Who the hell would put a space station out this far from the body to which you must start from? Or is it just me? Am I just bitching for no good reason? It's always possible. But I mean, if I'm reading this right, I mean that's moving faster than seconds. I mean, that countdown is moving faster than seconds. I mean, if I'm reading this right, I got an hour in like time until I freaking get there. You know what? What if well, it's too late. Yeah, I can't change it. I wonder if things would have been better if I'd put everything in engineering prior to going into jump. Would I get any more speed out? That's another question to ask. Would I get more speed if I put everything in engineering before I went into frame jump? Because this is getting old. It's getting old because it's exceedingly fast. So, let's continue the conversation, I guess, since we're waiting on this. What about how compelling the worlds are, right? Now, I recently read that there are about 1,000 guys that are joining this little loose affiliation of fellow guys who are going to try to visit every system. And I suppose that's interesting on some level. I no thanks. I'll pass. But it's something that comes out of a model for a game like this where the quantity quality slider has been pushed a little bit too far over to quantity, right? It's a great bullet point to say that you've got X millions or billions or whatever of systems you can explore. But when you then realize that what's in those systems and what's available to you in those systems and the relationships of those systems and what they produce and what they want are all generated by a random thing, an algorithm that really just... I'm sure what they did was they wrote a script that was probably exceptionally long. It took data on an existing system or existing systems and just ran math. This type of star, these types of planets, what we know about this, things that made up this way, whatever data they could probably get from NASA or whatever public domain data they could get, they then extrapolated in an automated way what would be available, what minerals would be available, randomly decided where orbiting stations would be, randomly generated a name. They probably had a table of a huge number of names, that type of thing, I'm guessing. But what you end up with is kind of a homogeneous experience, right? Everything's kind of the same as the last thing. I've made this trip out to a far-flung station lots of times with very little variation. There's nothing new. Random encounters are a lot less random than you'd probably like. For those of you who've played the game, they seem to fall into a handful of categories. The flip side is Star Citizen, and I'm not sure there's no way to know yet how far the slider goes. It's clearly not over at the quantity level that Elite Dangerous is.